Here they come.
Come on, sheep. Here, sheep. Good job.
Nice job, Mason.
Axle, and I built the whole thing on 4x4s, and we have a sunroof in there, nice sunroof in the sides and the back. You can open up for eggs.
So Scott, tell us a little bit about what's going on here.
Well, so what we do here is just for safety. We have these electric netting around our chickens and our sheep, and what happens is they get day paddocks. So every single day they get moved to new spots. And so what that does is allows the flies and other bugs to, lay their eggs and their larvae hatch inside the manure of the sheep. Then the chickens come over, they get all that protein, and they help spread out the manure at the same time.
So
we have meat birds that stay in here because they don't get moved. They get moved around every day, but they don't run around as much as the egg-laying hens.
So those enclosures move.
Yep. Oh yeah, they move. I use my ATV, and we can hook up to that and move it every single day. And this one just simply gets dragged. And yeah, it moves fairly easy.
So the whole point of this is that the animals work symbiotically with you, and that they're creating the space for insects, but then the birds eat the insects, and so you get a whole cycle going on here.
Exactly, and the more the symbiotic relationship is between the animals. I'm more of just the kind of the choreographer, the manager, and so you see that in Africa and the Great Plains. You see all these wild birds that follow all the herds, and the same thing in the U.S. when the bison are being followed by different birds like cowbirds and things like that. So we're just biomimicking what happens in nature naturally, and it helps keep sanitation better, so you get better health for the animals, and also you don't lose as much grass from trampling and being walked on and all this other stuff. And then it also gives the grass a rest period, which is very needed for for good growth and good grass, which is basically what I call myself, as a grass farmer, because the better the grass, the better the animals.
Excellent. So the whole point is to have this combination of different animals and a different biological environment, that everything comes together, as opposed to the idea that many people have that a good farm is one where everything's separated.
Yeah, where everything's separated, just, if you, like I said, that's why I talk about the biomimicry and stuff. If you look in nature, I mean, nothing is monoculture, and when you separate everything out, now you're creating perfect environments for disease and all these other things. So now you're really opening up to have problems, because you don't have this diversity of biology around. You have only one. And then each animal also does their own thing to the ground, to the grasses, and the sheep eat it a certain way, the chickens eat it a certain way. So those things also play a role in how the grass is being cared for. So I mean, all this behind us has been grazed, and we just keep following it along. But if we took a walk over to the other spot, you could see how the grass is already starting to bounce back. It has that rest period, and we're just going to keep going to the other fields, and eventually we can come back here and we'll have perfectly palatable grass for all the animals.
So a lot of the problems in the way we produce food in this country have to do with putting too many of one kind of animal in one place for too long.
I would say that's one of the problems. Yeah, I mean, creating like I said, like a monoculture of just one thing. Like I said, it's going to open up a host of just bad environments, or environments that are going to, be good for bad diseases, or it's not going to support good grass growth either, because now the grass is only being eaten one certain way. It needs all kinds of, with the life cycle, you need some kind of destruction or disturbance to keep that cycle going for new growth, and that's why you get different levels of it with different animals.
And the way commercial feedlots operate, they give animals lots of hormones because of the diseases that they get.
Oh yeah, they get antibiotics and hormones, and you think about, if you look at a cow at one of those feedlots or another animal in a feedlot like that, most of their health is false. They're only healthy because they're on antibiotics or some kind of medicine. My animals don't get any of that stuff. I mean, the most that they get that maybe considered like an antibiotic is all natural stuff, like garlic or diatomaceous earth or cod liver oil. We do all kinds of different little things like that, all natural stuff that they get, which helps, support the immune system and stuff. But, even without that stuff, with the system alone, you're already one step closer to always having healthy animals and not having problems like that.
So the produce you get from these animals, in terms of eggs from the chickens, and then the meat, is free of those hormones and antibiotics as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, even with sheep are pretty tough because they get what's called biopole worms or different parasites. And so people have to worm with all these different wormers, and there's 3 major ones, and most of the time you're going to start with the lowest one and then work your way to the highest one, because the worms the parasites get resistance to these. For over a year and a half, I haven't used any kind of chemical dewormers on them at all. Like I said, I used the garlic and all that other stuff, and I drench the sheep, or I put it in their water. And I checked their famacha the other day, which is you remove their eyelids and you see how pink it is, and make sure that they're not anemic, which usually means that there's biopole worms, because they suck the blood in the organs, so usually they become anemic and they can die from it. So I checked all my sheep the other day, and they were all nice and pink and looked really well. So it's possible. You just gotta have the right model to try to thwart things like the parasites and understand those things, and to do things to get you away from the,
right,
hosting those.
Now, I understand you've learned all of this not because you grew up on a farm, but because you've learned about this in coursework that you've taken.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a city kid. I grew up in New Bedford and lived there pretty much most of my life, other than Army and a few other, instances, but most of my time has been in cities. And I learned all this stuff. I started reading and watching videos and being online, and then I was going to BCC, and I started taking the BCC Sustainable Ag program, and then we started working with that, and everything I do is kind of like just learning. I've been to different classes, I talk to a lot of people, and yeah, I always have a thirst for knowledge, so I'm always looking to learn something new.
And would you recommend this for other people who might want to get into farming?
Farming's not the easiest thing in the world, because right now everything's geared towards commercial agriculture, but I mean, for me it's not just a monetary thing, it's the passion and the love for it, and the need for quality food, I feel, and that's one of the reasons why I do it. And if you have a similar passion, definitely get into it. But if you're looking to get rich, it's it's not the easiest profession to get rich at, but you get rich in other things.
So you need to do it for the love of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're very appreciative of the work that you're doing here, and look forward to perhaps some other visits out here.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.